Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson, and I'm sitting in our newest project car. We just picked up a 2013 Subaru BRZ. It's in World Rally Blue, probably the prettiest color. And the nice thing about this BRZ is that it is the cheapest BRZ in the country. Now, let me caveat that. It's the cheapest BRZ with a clean title. Now, if you've been looking around for BRZs, you know, or FRSs for that matter, or 86, GT86, then you know that you could really find these really cheap. But, chances are there's already an accident with them, or it's just been the frame's bent, or it's been flooded, multitude of issues. But with this one has a clean title, and there's no issues at all. It was actually a one owner BRZ. The downside, though, the reason why this is the cheapest BRZ in the nation is because it's also a high mileage BRZ. So this one, as is when I picked it up, it had 93,000 and I think 250 miles. It's the highest BRZ that I found on sale. There are higher mileage ones, like, again, I'm filming this in early 2018, so this is a 5-year-old car. So, you could expect some BRZs to run in like the six-figure mileage. So I searched everywhere. I used Auto Trader, I used Auto Tempest, used Cars.com, used Car Gurus, and I looked everywhere, not just within like a 50-mile radius of where I live, which is in New Jersey, but I searched nationwide. And this one was the cheapest one, and it was only 2 hours away from where I lived, which is awesome because I could check it out in one day. I didn't have to fly across the country to check it out and come home empty-handed. And the reason why I got this car is because, now, you might have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of BRZ FRS 86 videos on YouTube. And I hope that this is going to be a different set of videos for you guys. This is all going to be about the driver mod. The whole goal for me buying this car is to improve myself as a driver. So, of course, I'm going to be making some modifications to the car, how to become from a track novice to a track respected noob, basically, or a track god, whatever I will end up at. This whole series is all going to be about the evolution and also the learning process, what you do to prep your car for the track, what you can expect at the track, and I'll also be running into a lot of other people basically in my position who have the same exact desires, have the same exact hobbies, that basically just want to go out there and drive their cars. If you've been watching our videos, then you've probably seen us driving around the racetrack in Monticello, New York. But that is basically the limit of my tracking experience. And I plan on doing these videos weekly because every Saturday there's a autocross event. And near where I live in Jersey, the closest event that we have is the one in the Meadowlands. And if you go to the website like autocrossforyou.com or scca-nnjr.com, you could see the schedule for the solo events. So if you're interested in going out, please hit us up and let me know that you're going so that I could meet you guys out there. I'm really looking forward to do this autocrossing thing, learn to become a better driver, and also meeting you guys so that we could, at least I could learn from you guys, and maybe you could learn from me once I've learned something. So that's basically the goal of this series. But and to give you some history of this car, I just bought this. Today's a Saturday in April. It's still very cold, and I bought this car last week. Again, I mentioned earlier, I bought this car with 93,250-ish miles on the clock, and I test drove it, and everything was fantastic. I love everything about this car. It's just, it reminds me of my old 2006 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. That's the Evo 9, and that was such a hardcore car. It was no frills. It had a terrible interior, and the suspension was extra firm. The steering was super quick, and also it had a lot of utility. So this car doesn't remind me of that from the utility aspect, even though if you fold down the rear seats, you could apparently fit 4 tires back there. It's such a delight to drive, even though I'm just using it for like daily driving purposes for the past week. But yeah, as of last night, this happened. Unfortunately, this is the first clip that I have of the Subaru BRZ. I was coming home from the gym and I started hearing like this rattling sound right underneath, kind of like the left side of the car. And then all of a sudden it went into limp mode. Yeah, this is my first clip of the Subaru BRZ, which I just bought 6 days ago. So again, maybe this is the curse of buying the cheapest BRZ in the country. So I've got it towed. It's gonna get towed to my house, and I'm gonna check out what's wrong with it, and hopefully it's not a big issue. But this is the joys of owning a high mileage project car, because stuff can go wrong with it. So I read up a little bit more about the issues, and you know, reading the forums online, it's kind of like reading WebMD, you know, because you might think that you have a cold, then you start thinking that you have cancer or something like that. So I went up to ft86club.com. It's a great forum, and I just you know, searched around for the trouble code that I had. So I had like this really cheapo OBD2 scanner, and it showed that it had the P0300 code, which if you look that up, that means it's random or multiple misfires. And that was the only code that spit up. So, you know, the fact that it's the only code gives me a lot of concern, because if it was a spark plug issue, which is my first inclination as to the issue of this car, then it would have thrown some sort of you know, misfiring code in a specific engine bay. So that didn't happen. And the chances of all 4 spark plugs going bad is probably very, very low. And if it were a spark plug issue, then that means that I could still start the car, whereas in this car, I could only crank. It cranks really strong, but the engine does not turn over. So, and what I did here when I was driving home from the gym last night was that yeah, I was driving about 35 miles per hour. And I was driving around, I think, either the 3rd or 4th gear. So very low RPM. I mean, not very low RPM, but just like casual driving, not hard driving. I haven't even driven this car hard because I just bought it. Even though it has 93,000 miles, I haven't driven this car hard yet. But yeah, I was just casually driving, and then all of a sudden I heard as if I ran over a bunch of tree branches. And I had left my driver's side window down so I could hear. It sounded like it was coming from the left side, but I think that's because I had the windows open. But and then I read online, and it basically sounds like what I was hearing was engine knock sounds. So that really sucks. And then after I heard the sounds, the car basically kind of like went into limp mode, and I couldn't go any faster. I couldn't apply any more throttle. You know, I kept on hearing the clicking and clacking. And then as I was coming up to a stop sign, you know, I just hit the brakes. At that point, I found out that the brakes were harder to press. So I was losing ABS as well, so I had to use the emergency brake. And then at that point, the engine died. The fear is that this is a spun bearing issue, which is a catastrophic type of damage. And that could happen because of basically oil starvation. So as of this morning, I checked the oil levels, and I didn't bother to crank it or anything like that, but it was, if you take out the dipstick, you see 2 holes, and on the end of the dipstick and the first hole closest to the handle, that means that the engine is full of oil. And the other dot furthest away from you, or the other hole furthest away from you, that means that it's 1 quart low. So when I pulled out the dipstick, it was at the lowest level. So it wasn't completely empty. Again, I checked it when it was completely cold. But it definitely needs oil. So I don't know if this was oil starved, potentially if there was a leak I did check the Carfax before I bought this car, and they did show that they did some routine maintenance, chief among which that they changed the oil and also changed the oil filter. So I called the dealer, and they're going to send out a tow truck from where they are, which is 2 hours away from here, all the way to my location on their dime. So they're going to take a look at it, basically, which is really generous on their end. But again, I did just buy a car from them 7 days ago, and it just crapped out on me, you know, and I've only driven about maybe 300 miles total. So it's going to be in their hands. I'm not really sure what they're going to say. They're the dealership, so despite what people say about dealerships, what we do know is that they should have all the diagnostic tools and the capability to easily diagnose these cars, and I'm hoping that they have seen, you know, thousands of these cars, and they should be experienced in at least diagnosing what could be at fault, or they would already know, given that, you know, this is a 5-year-old car at this point, so they should have seen all the issues that they've run into. That's basically the state of this project car. You know, we started off in the wrong foot. It's really unfortunate. This is a little disheartening, but that's the reason why we buy these cars, is to learn something about ourselves and also learn a lot about the car. So I'm definitely getting a crash course on the BRZs. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, just do it right now. Hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime we make a new video. And also don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Drive Tribe channels, which is all linked down below. So please stay tuned. We are going to fix this car one way or the other, and we are going to continue the saga. Again, we just started off in the wrong foot. It is unfortunate, but you know, I'm going to see this as an opportunity, because maybe this could potentially help any of you out there who's thinking about jumping into these cars, or maybe you are in this current situation right now where you have a P0300 code. Together we can learn and fix this whole terrible situation. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and sticking around till the end, and I'll catch you next time, hopefully with better news. See ya.